Imagine this. You work so hard to market and get in front of your ideal clients, to create content to get their attention and demonstrate your expertise, and to really have buyers in the marketplace be interested in wanting to learn more about how you might be able to support them. And then finally, you have somebody who responds, somebody who is interested in having a conversation with you. You then go on to have multiple conversations with that person, or likely several people inside of that organization. And then you go on to lose the opportunity because you haven't paid attention to the critical steps and parts of a successful consulting proposal. This happens all too often. And so in this video, what I'm going to do is break down for you and explain some of the most common mistakes that people make when it comes to consulting proposals, so that you can avoid making those mistakes or adjust and improve your approach with the goal of helping you to win significantly more consulting business. So the first mistake that people make when it comes to consulting proposals is they focus too much on deliverables and not enough on outcomes. Now, what is a deliverable? A deliverable might be the workshop that you're providing for your client. It might be the report that you are giving them, right? It is what you are going to do or to give to your client. So some additional terminology, right? We often say inputs. Inputs are the things that you are going to do. Deliverables are the things that you are going to give to the client, the tangible things you're going to give to them, the format of how you will work with them as a workshop, as an example. And then you have outcomes. Outcomes are the value and the result that your client will receive from the inputs and deliverables. And the mistake that most consultants make far too often is that they pack their proposal and even their conversations talking about all of the inputs and all the deliverables that they will give to the client. And they miss talking about the outcomes. But your clients or the buyer is not interested only in what they are going to receive or what you are going to do. It's great that you have a 5-step, process or a specific methodology. It's great that you're going to deliver a workshop or you're going to give them a 25-page report filled with powerful recommendations. That's all fantastic, but that's not what they actually want to buy. They want to buy the transformation or the outcome that they are going to receive. How will they be better off? How will their organization be better off? How will their team be better off? How will they be better off from the work that they're going to do with you? So make sure that you not only list the inputs and the deliverables, but you also very clearly communicate the outcome, the value, the result that the client will receive from the work that you're going to do together. All right, the second is to ensure that you expand your bullets, your lists inside of your proposal. So it's very common to see, lists or bullets of what the consultant will provide and what they're going to do. And it'll say something like, we'll conduct a SWOT analysis. This is a further example of point number one, where somebody will say, we'll do a SWOT analysis, or we're going to have a workshop, or we're going to provide coaching. All those things are nice. Those are all the inputs or potentially the deliverables you're going to give to clients. But what I want to encourage you to do here is to expand that item, right? From doing a SWOT analysis to explaining the value or the outcome that the client will receive from the SWOT analysis. As an example, instead of just typing out and saying, well, we'll conduct a SWOT analysis, you would say something along the lines of, we'll conduct a SWOT analysis to show you the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as they relate to your current marketplace, and how we can then leverage the biggest and best opportunities to help you to double your revenue, which is the mandate of your board for the next 12 months. And I'm making that, right? This is a hypothetical example, but now you're bringing it to life. Now they can see the value, the reason for doing the SWOT analysis. It's not just to do the SWOT analysis, it's what the SWOT analysis will allow them to do. All right, let's talk about the third thing. And that is make sure that you explain your expertise and how you've helped others like them. So your proposal is not a document that should be used to win the business. The business should ideally already be won before you get to the proposal, right? And that happens in the conversations that you have with the buyer. But it is important to restate, to communicate again, right? What is the expertise that you have? How are you positioned to deliver on what you say you're going to deliver? Meaning, mention in your proposal that you've done this kind of work before. Explain it. If you've worked with 100 companies like them, say that. If you've created some very specific, consistent results, say that. You want to help the buyer to feel comfortable. The most common reasons that buyers do not move forward is because they see too much risk. And so your job is to show them in your conversations, through your content, and also in in your proposal, right, to reiterate that this is not your first rodeo, as some people say. This is not your first time at bat, right? Another way to think of it, you've done this before and you're very good at it. And so they're going to be well taken care of. Like, you've got their back, right? You're there. You're going to help them and guide them through it as an expert. Rest assured, I know what we need to do. And you want to be able to communicate that in a very compelling way. So talk about your expertise, talk about how you've helped others like them. That'll reduce the risk that they see, and they're going to be more likely to want to move forward, excited to move forward with you, so they can see and experience the result and the outcome or solve the problems that they're having. Number 4, clearly communicate the ROI and benefit. Clearly communicate the return on investment and the benefit that the clients will receive. Now, in order for you to be able to communicate this, you need to understand the impact of the work that you do. That should not happen at the proposal level. That should happen way before the proposal, when you're having conversations with that buyer or buyers. You need to understand, right, what happens when you do A and when you do B. And if you don't do A or B, what do they stand to lose? You should have already captured through your sales conversation, right, by asking very deep, thoughtful questions, so that you're starting to see how everything fits together. And therefore, you know the impact of, hey, if we do these things, this is what it's going to look like for, a 25% improvement in productivity, or a 30% decrease in costs, or developing a strategic plan that is twice as likely to actually be implemented on, and therefore it will help you to achieve X results that you and your board are aiming for. All of that can help you to then position how the work that you're going to do will deliver a certain level of return on investment, right, beyond the fees that they're going to invest and pay for you to do that work. And so the benefit for them to do it, or the cost of inaction if they don't do it, right? These are all very important things for you to look at. So here I'm talking about number 4 is to help you to quantify, right? What is the potential return on investment and benefit for the client? Now, if you're wondering, how do you put all this together for your specific business, your situation, your service offerings, the market that you're targeting, all of that, and you want help to ensure that you do this and have the highest likelihood of being successful with it, so that you can earn more, you can win more business, you can grow your business, you can grow more profitable business, a more sustainable business, and you can ultimately create a lifestyle doing work that you love, and a lifestyle that gives you plenty of freedom and flexibility, then you may want to find out more about our Clarity Coaching program. We've worked with over 1,000 consultants all around the world in many different industries, helping them to grow their business with more confidence, where they follow a proven framework, a growth system. We provide you with growth roadmaps for the specific stage of business that you're at, showing you what you need to do to get to that next level, as well as giving you 90-day action plans for you to follow step by step, so you're very confident knowing that you're doing the right things to grow your consulting business. If you're interested in learning more about that, just click on the link below this video or somewhere around this page, or go to consultingsuccess.com, click on coaching, fill in a short form to tell us more about your situation. We'd love to have a conversation with you and see how we can help you to take your consulting business to that next level. All right, let's get back to number 5. So number 5 is that, and this is more important than ever before, it's for you to make a very strong business case. Less experienced consultants often believe that the reason they don't move forward, or the buyer doesn't move forward, is due to budget. And they'll say things like, yeah, I talked to a buyer and they said they're very interested in the work, but they just don't have the budget right now, so they want to talk maybe in a few quarters. And the problem with that thinking is that it's just completely untrue. Budget is never the issue. Every successful leader will be open to reallocating, to moving budget around, if they can see that there's a better, higher producing and performing opportunity for them. And so your job as a consultant, in whoever you're talking with inside that organization, is to show them and help them to see that the work that you're talking to them about is going to be the best return for them. It's going to create the most value for them. If you can make a very compelling, a strong business case for why doing this work now, as opposed to 3 months down the road, is beneficial to the organization, they're going to be open to doing that, right? Every organization has budget. They make decisions every single day about how to allocate that budget. They're going to look at it. If there's a great opportunity sitting right in front of them, they will be foolish to just say, no, we're not going to look at anything for another 6 months because we're doing these things. They're going to at least be open to exploring, to having one conversation, or to looking at, and just to see. But that means that you need to build a very compelling business case, because the truth and the reality is, if there's no real reason for them to do this work now, if there's no downside to them waiting, then why would they not wait? Why would they reallocate budget if there's no clear, strong business case? So think about COI in addition to ROI, right? ROI, return on investment. COI, cost of inaction. If they don't move forward, if they don't take action on this right now, what do they stand to lose? What is the impact for them, for the organization, for their employees, for the market, for competition? Look at all of that. And then if you can make a very compelling business case inside of your conversations and inside of your proposal, you're likely going to see a much higher acceptance acceptance rate on your proposals. Let's talk about number 6. Number 6 is having a very powerful sales conversation first to identify value. You've heard me talk about this now a couple of times throughout these other points. But the reason why most people are not able to craft a very compelling, or bring in a compelling pricing strategy or talk about ROI or really showcase the value that they're going to be creating or also have a powerful business case is because they've rushed the sales conversation, right? They talk to somebody, the buyer says, yeah, sounds interesting, send me a proposal. The consultant's thinking like, yes, they're interested. They rush off then to put together proposals. They send it off and crickets, right? Nothing happens, or it's not compelling. It's not going to move the needle. There's no strong business case. And that's because they've rushed having the conversation. They haven't gone through a proper framework. They haven't used the right structure. They haven't asked deep, meaningful questions. This is one of the things that we do with our clients in the Clarity Coaching Program, that we really try and instill and show them. We give them, scripts and templates to use that are proven to work really, really well. But if you rush through the sales conversation, if you don't ask the right questions, it's very hard for you to identify value. It's also very hard for the buyer to see the value. This is the power and the effectiveness of having a great sales conversation. When you know the questions to ask, not only is it helpful for you to identify the value and all the other kind of key points about the situation, but it's also very powerful for the buyer, because when you ask them those questions, they need to answer them. And so now they're already starting to be sold on the value and benefit of working with you over anybody else, because you're asking great questions. Again, if you want to learn more about that, just click the link below this video and get in touch, and we'll be happy to share with you more about what having that kind of conversation looks like. But make sure that you don't rush this. You need to master having this kind of conversation. And when you do, it will be just a huge difference inside of your business of how you're able to move sales conversations forward, how you're able to shorten your sales cycle, how you're finding that more and more people say yes to wanting a proposal from you, and that proposal actually ends up being a winning proposal. So let's round off this video with number 7, the final tip that I'll share today. There's obviously many other ones, but I want to at least give you 7 just tried and true mistakes, oversights that we see people not paying enough attention to. When you do, they can make a massive difference. So number 7, and this is a huge one, very common, is do not send the proposal. When you send a proposal to a buyer, you're pretty much asking the proposal to do the selling for you. And the problem with that is when you send the proposal, the buyer likely has questions. The buyer may interpret certain things that you put in that proposal in a way that is not what you wanted them to interpret. When you guide the buyer through the proposal, when you explain everything, you have the opportunity to deal with any questions, any objections. You have the opportunity to adjust things on the spot and say, yeah, no problem. If you prefer B, we can move B instead of A, right? You can do that on the spot with the buyer. And so what that means is you're able to keep the momentum of that conversation and of the whole sales cycle moving forward. Whereas if you send the proposal, a few things happen. Number 1, the buyer may not review it right away, especially if it's longer. Number 2, even if they do review it, they're going to skim it. They're likely going to misinterpret certain things, or they won't have the full context because you haven't explained it to them. And if they don't understand something, or they just think that it's off and it doesn't align with something that they're thinking about in that specific moment, they're going to put it to the side and they're not going to respond to you. And that's why when you start to follow up and wonder, are they interested, and you don't hear anything back, you start wondering, you start questioning yourself. This is the cause, or at least one of the main causes. Critically important that you review the proposal with the buyer. So instead of sending it, set up a time to review it with them, go over it with them, answer their questions. Then you can talk about next steps. So 7 very specific things to help you to win more consulting proposals.